美国股市, we have with us Wen Shiau. He's the founding partner and CIO of Tai Tam Capital Group. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
Can you give us an overview of what happened in the markets this week?
Well, we had a continuation of a good week. We had good economic data. We had housing starts that was very positive. We're at 5.5-year highs. And we also had the Case-Shiller index that came out for the 20 largest cities in America. There was a big jump in prices, 13% year on year, and we're at a 7.5-year high. I think on the other side of it, we had negative news on consumer confidence. But that's to be expected. We had 2 falling months of consumer confidence, and that's because in October we had 16 days of government shutdown, and then this month in November we've had almost daily barrage of negative news on Obamacare. But having said all that, I think the sentiment can easily be changed with continuation of further good economic data.
Pretty positive economic data we're seeing out there. And in terms of the securities that you invest in, what sort of trends are you seeing?
We're seeing some fairly strong trends this year. For the first time in 2013, we're seeing a rotation from bonds into equities. If you take a look at the ICI index of mutual fund investors and what they're doing, in 2013, we're seeing flows out of bonds and into equity mutual funds, something like negative 25 billion into positive about 20 billion through September. So that's
significant.
That's a very important theme, and we think that because this is just the beginning of that switch, there is much further room for that to go. The other theme that's been happening is a stronger dollar. We can talk about what's happening with interest rates, but the expectations here are that the Fed tapering talk that began in April of this year has continued to flow into interest rates. And interest rates, what we've seen in 10-year treasuries, have increased by about 100 basis points in the last 1 year. And we think over the next 1 year, it's going to increase another 100 basis points.
And we're seeing the S&P has gone up 27% year to date. Is there more room for growth?
I think that's a very good question, because we all ask ourselves, are we in a bubble? And if you take a look at the fund flows that I talked about earlier, there's a lot of additional marginal buyers that can still come into the marketplace. So from a positional standpoint, you can see that there are a lot more investors, both on the retail side and professional side, who can come in to bring the markets higher. And also, if you take a look at traditional valuations, the PE ratio right now is around 16, which is right on line with the historical average, about 15. And to put that in perspective, in the last time we had a real bubble in 1999, the PE ratio was about 34. So we could almost double that and then, be well into bubble territory. So we think we're not yet in a bubble, and that there's still scope for it to go higher in 2014.
Great, so we're safe for now. In terms of coming out of the holiday weekend, what should we expect for the markets? What are investors going to be looking out for?
Well, the expectations are 2014 will actually be a reacceleration of growth from sub 3% to above 3% in the US. So the January effect in December should be very strong for equity inflows. So I think, as I stated earlier, it's very consistent with the risk-on theme. And having had a very good year in 2013, we expect that to continue further.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
来关心下周重要经济数据。
下周三将迎来国际贸易数据以及新屋销售量。下周四国内生产总值 GDP 以及申请失业救济人数。下周五市场就业情形以及个人薪资报告。